definition of old. Let's do a hypothetical. Let's just say, or even with a question, is the house that was built by bricks in the year 1940 on Brickell Avenue considered old as it still stands today? Even after the house that was built by wood in 2012 in the state of Arizona, where there are a bunch of tornadoes, was completely destroyed and demolished by a tornado 6 months after it was built, that stands and exists no more? Yahweh told King Shlomo, King Solomon, who then wrote it down on papyrus, on scrolls with his own fingers, that is now found transliterated into English and printed and segmented, divided into 2 verses, 9 and 10 of chapter 1 in the book called Ecclesiastes, the following, quote, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old time, which was before us," end of quote. So how in this part of hell is there anything new that has been already of old time before us? Yahweh speaks for himself of what is not new. In fact, the true root word for the infamous English word testament came from its own synonymous word, quote, testimony, end of quote. This means that the scrolls of the Hebrew prophets are actually testimonies, records, recorded testimonies and recorded prophecies that were handwritten from 5,000 to 3,000 years ago in codex and kept sealed until a certain time. Your Bible reference is the book of Daniel chapter 12 verse 4, as well as the book of Revelation chapter 5 and verses 1 through 5. The lion walked among you in the forest, and you didn't even see him, roaring of Judah. And the documents of those who witnessed Yahshua ben Yosef over 2,024 years ago were testimonies and records that were kept unsealed for events to be compared to for today. On the other hand, the book of Daniel in chapter 7 and verse 25, that says, as I quote, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time," end of quote. That's another mystery, another prophetic cryptogram that has already been deciphered, that we will share with you in an upcoming class session. And they did just that. The devils, those who speak against the Most High, are Christ. They are anti-Yahweh. They are the devils. They are his opposers, the opposition. Satan and his wicked devils, his indelibly wicked devils. But they changed times and laws, but not by solar time, because they can never control the sun. But they changed time by dates of their calendars to lunar time, lunar dates, moon dates. They did not change their laws. They created their laws, but they did change Yahweh's laws. So this leads us to a few more questions. And one of those few more questions is, quote, did Moses truly write, and Yahweh truly said to Moses to write? That is found in the book of Leviticus chapter 23 and verses 5 and 6, that we must keep Yahweh's Passover, quote, I-N, end the quote. That's I-N, in the fourth day, or the 14th day, of the first month, at even. Does that make sense? Did Yahweh truly say that we must keep Passover in, according to verse 5 of Leviticus chapter 23, in the 14th day of the first month, at even? How in the world can we keep Passover in something that's already in possession? It's already in motion. It's already the duration. The duration has already started at even. We must keep Passover in something that has already started, that's almost ended at even. At another even. In other words, we know from sundown to sundown is the beginning of a day. And even is the beginning of the day. And the next even is the end of the day. But we must go in that day and keep Passover. That means we'll be keeping something in something that already started. And then we only have time to keep it and observe it at even. So could you hear the trick? And then turn around in verse 6 and write or print, and on the 15th day of the same month is a feast of unleavened bread unto you that vow for Yahweh for 7 days, that ye must eat unleavened bread, end of quote. Now see, I'm not having problems with the unleavened bread and keeping the Passover. That's not a problem. That's a law. However, what I am having problems with is verse 5. Keeping Passover in the 14th day of the first month, when it should be keep the Passover on the 14th day at even until even. Do you hear what is being said? Verse 5 contradicts itself by beginning with in and ending with even. This is what studying is all about. This is what having the veil removed off of your mind is all about when it comes to the reading of the Old Testament and rightly dividing the word of truth of using one for Yahweh from the lies of Satan. And yet, Deuteronomy chapter 16 and verse 1 says that we must observe the month of Abib, for this is the day that we were brought out of Egypt. This is the month that we were brought out of Egypt. So it appeared to me, in results of study, that the first day of the month of Abib is the first day we came out of Egypt. And yet, there are those in the world who are calling themselves Jews and are not, but do lie. Those that has confiscated the scrolls of Moshe, and they know they are holding the truth, or they are at least deceiving the world into believing that they are the Jews holding the truth. Passover, their Passover began this April 14th. They hold it all week, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, until sundown April 18th to sundown April 19th. And those are the false Jews. Yet they're confusing the world. Even my own people who are lost follow each other. Some of my people keeping the Passover toward the end of the month known as March. As others created a Passover and started keeping Passover the first day of April. Total confusion. The devil really did, according to what he said he would, changing times and laws. Where are not the saints of the Most High, Yudhidwafe, Yahweh? And yet, the Messiah has already put time back the way it's supposed to be by our solar calendar. 30 days in a month. But we will share that with you in upcoming classes as well, in the sessions. Meanwhile, you must also keep in mind that the Bible is not and was not written literally. The scrolls of the Hebrew prophets were written in at least 9 different ways. We repeat, the Holy Bible, the King James Version Bible, the Gideon, or whatever Bible you choose to read, that is closest to those that was transliterated by the 47 scholars of King James, those biblicists, with aid and translation of those 7 traders of Israel, the 7 elders, 54 men responsible for transliterating the Bible from Hebraic into English, was not written literally or in fantasy like a fairy tale book. So, you have a job to do. The first thing you must do is you must not treat the Bible, you must not read or treat the words that are now found printed with a printing press by men and women of England in 1611 and used ink in those Bibles by a printing press, just like a newspaper. Newspapers lie. You must not read the Bible as if it's a novel. The Bible is not a novel. The scrolls of the prophets were not written in novelty. In other words, there are no human beings with white feathers on their backs like giant birds that can defeat gravity, and they are seen with a white basketball hoop-sized halo around or over their heads, wearing long white gowns, barefooted, flying around in the Bible from page to page, or on earth from city to city, eating chocolate cake, helping little 3 and 4-year-old children to cross a much needed repair broken down wooden bridge, terrified half to death of the waters rushing up towards the sides of the rope that's popping. Oh, Yahweh, save us. Please let your spirit wake Judah up. This is one of the many reasons why our people of Judah are having such problems believing in what is found printed today in the book of John, chapter 1, especially verses 10, 11, and 12. Nevertheless, I am going to testify to you of a subject in this upcoming class session that highlights one of several appellations of the Son, Yahweh. The appellation of the Son Yahweh that is world-renowned today by all religions of the world, regardless of their language, as the infamous appellation that is known as, quote, the Messiah, end of quote. In fact, this testimony is stimulated from a posted page that I read some time ago on Facebook that ended with a question that was asked by a Facebook alliance. And that subject and the question that was posted was read as follows, as I quote, "Anyone that claims to be the Messiah, you say he's a false Messiah based on the scriptures. He either doesn't say the right things, he doesn't wear the right clothes, he doesn't look the right way, or his works don't measure up to your standards. So, for all of you waiting for a Messiah, and I'm not saying if you're right or wrong, how will you know it's him?" End of quote, with the question. Now, with that said, please tune in this coming Sunday, April 20th, at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, by dialing this number. Get your pencil, pen, and paper, write it down. That's 1-218-632-3833. Access code 10271935.